The rest of the different pieces of factoring here that you might run into involves MAC factoring, difference or sum of cubes, factoring by grouping. So let's do a quick example of each one of those. Here, MAC factoring, where the leading coefficient is not 1, when you do the MAC factoring, you multiply the first by the last, so 4 times negative 3. So they multiply to negative 12, and they have to add to be the middle number, which is add to be a plus 1. So the factors that I'm dealing with are going to be 4 and negative 3. Now for these types of problems, some students find it useful to let u equal the tangent of x. So let u equal the tangent of x. And really, this is now the problem that we're dealing with. 4u squared plus u minus 3. We're then going to rewrite the middle term in terms of 4 and negative 3. So 4u squared plus 4u minus 3u minus 3. You can do your factor by grouping right here, pulling out the 4u, and you're left with a u plus 1. And in the back, we've got to pull out a negative 3 to be left with u plus 1. So really my two factors then are 4u minus 3 and u plus 1. But since we said u is equal to the tangent of x, or tangent of theta, 4 tangent of theta minus 3 and the tangent of theta plus 1. We need to make sure that we plug in our values for u. The second one is the sum or difference of two cubes. Cosecant cubed of x minus 27 all over the cosecant of x minus 3. So once again here, I might say let u equal the cosecant of x. So really what we're dealing with is going to be u minus 27, u cubed minus 27 over u minus 3. And you can either use synthetic division, you could use long division to figure out how these two pieces would divide out. But when you work it all out, you end up with u minus 3 and then u squared plus 3u plus 9 all over u minus 3. Those guys will cancel it down. So we're left with u squared plus 3u plus 9. And we said originally that u was the cosecant of x. So cosecant squared of x plus 3 times the cosecant of x plus 9 is how that sum or difference of two cubes simplifies down. As I said, you can either use the shortcut, your same different positive shortcut, or you could do long division or synthetic division, but your end result should be u squared plus 3u plus 9. Letter D here, factoring by grouping. This one we've got straight secants that we can pull out. So in my front group right here, secant cubed of x minus secant squared of x. Secant squared of x. And then I'm left with the secant of x minus 1. And then in the back, I also need to have a secant of x minus 1. So I need to factor out a negative 1. And then I will have a secant of x minus 1. So then my two factors are everything outside the parentheses and everything inside the parentheses. So secant squared of x minus 1 times the secant of x minus 1. And we know secant squared of x minus 1 is a Pythagorean identity, tangent squared of x times the secant of x minus 1. And then the final one, rationalizing the denominator, is very similar to what we had on top of the previous page. We multiply by the conjugate when we rationalize. So my numerator becomes 1 plus the cosine of x. My denominator then, once again, is the difference of two squares when I pull this out. So it's really 1 minus cosine squared of x. And 1 minus cosine squared of x is sine squared of x.